So now again, I would like to take you back to some basic metric, means how we can extract metrics of a given machine, and for that we'll like to start with the balanced, means we'll try to find out matrix equations for balanced two-phase machine with uniform air gap. All these what makes sense, that is why I'm writing here. So what about the diagram of that machine? So as it is two phase, it must have two phase that is are placed in quadrature in stator part. Right, here we are having two the rotor winding. They are denoted by alpha and beta. This angle is theta. Here you are having a speed theta dot is equal to omega. This current is I alpha. This current is I beta. Right. So this is an example of balanced two-phase uniform induction machine. Here the stator winding, we are having D and Q, and also in rotor winding we are having alpha and beta. So here this DQ, no need to connote it with your common understanding of direct and quadrature axis. If any resemblance is there, that we will figure it out later, but no need to connect these two at this moment. Now here the axis of this alpha phase winding of our rotor are making an angle theta with the stator D phase, means D winding, right? Now rotor is rotating in counterclockwise direction, and theta is a function of time and angular speed, that is omega. Now the terminal voltage of 4 winding, how we can write the terminal voltage of 4 winding? What are the components do you expect there in this 4 winding terminal voltage? Let me write one by one. First start with V alpha. So as we know, it will be R alpha alpha, I alpha. I'm writing it for the rotor first. Then P L alpha alpha, I alpha, plus P M alpha beta, I alpha. Then we are having, sorry, here I beta plus P M alpha D, I D, plus P M alpha Q, I Q. Then you are having B beta, R beta beta, I beta, plus P L beta beta, that is self inductance of B phase of rotor winding, I beta, plus P M. Here we are having your B alpha, I alpha. What we can do, let us do one thing. These actually help us in time of matrix representation. Now we are having P M alpha D, I D, plus P, sorry, M beta D, M beta Q, I Q. Then we are having V D is equal to P M D alpha, I alpha, plus P M D beta, I beta, plus R D D, I D, plus P L D D, that is a stator D phase self inductance, plus another one. What we will have here is that VQ is equal to P right? Now, before we proceed further, we must understand the nature of these inductances. Now, here, interestingly, we are having uniform air gap, therefore, uniform reluctance across all the windings. So, all the self inductances will be independent of your rotor position. Why so? Then am I trying to indicate that for salient pole rotor our self inductance will contain some function of our rotor angle? Check it. So and if we disregard the saturation and having a linear nature of this circuit, assume a linear nature of this circuit, then what we will do, see again I am telling you that this doesn't give you the liberty, this matrix representation doesn't give you the liberty to consider a non-linear circuit as a whole. It is totally matrix representation, total linear approach will be work or will be applicable on any system that is that preserves linearity, because you cannot represent something non-linear things in using linear matrix equation, right? You need the things to be linear. Anyway, so here if these self-inductance are constant and as the rotors it is I have mentioned that it is balanced. We know it is balanced. So in case of balanced, what you can expect that for balanced winding your like both the phase will be means constant, like L alpha alpha is equal to, we can write L beta beta is equal to L R, and L D D is equal to L Q Q is equal to L S, right? And if it is symmetrical, then again we have reached the end of this page. Okay, let me write here. If it is symmetrical, then what we can further assume that m alpha beta is equal to m beta alpha, and m dq is equal to mqd. However, what is their position in space and what does it imply? They are in right angle to each other. Like if you see the construction, this D and this Q, they are in quadrature. So, how, like if, try to understand one thing, if you change ID, then what would happen? This will produce a flux line in this way. Now, this flux line, can these flux lines interact with this this coil? The answer is no. This flux lines is in quadrature with your this coil. These flux lines cannot link the coil present there in q axis. Therefore, these coils are independent of each other. So, what conclusion we can draw? And the same conclusion is true for our rotor windings also, phases also, that all these mutual inductance are zero. Okay. That means between two phase mutual inductances are zero. So what are the terms we can drop here? Let me cross them out. Okay. So now remaining mutual inductance we need to investigate, that we are having m alpha d, m alpha q, and therefore m beta d, m beta q. Obviously, unlike the two winding that are located on the same part of the machine, like two stator winding or two rotor winding, they are means they themselves are mutually in quadrature position, so their mutual inductance is zero. But the rotor mutual inductance with respect to rotor is not zero. Rather, what we can see that it is a function of our angle. What we can do is that uh, in clearly from this diagram we can write that I am using red color, so okay, use this color. This will use enhance visibility. M alpha d is equal to m d alpha, as it is the structure is even in nature. M alpha q is equal to m q alpha, m beta d is equal to m d beta, m beta q is equal to m q beta, right? M beta q is equal to m q beta. With all this, what we can see that all these four are functions of theta, and clearly theta, like this variation of theta is cyclic with a period corresponding to one complete rotation of the rotor. So if we assume that angular acceleration is zero, for the time being, if we assume angular acceleration is zero and we are having a smooth speed, then what you will get? You will get theta is a cyclic, and if we assume that it varies sinusoidally, although means many cases we can see that this means our this how to describe that, this notion that theta is varying and means theta dependent quantity are varying in a sinusoidal manner is holds good. Uh, Now, what the maximum will occur in each cases when the two winding axes are becoming collinear, or means they are aligned with each other, like when alpha, when this one rotation, one alpha comes here, then you will have maximum effect of d realized on alpha, and at the same time the rotor phase beta will become independent of d, right? So these are the two extreme instances, and since all the pair of windings are here we are considering as similar and air gap is uniform, therefore maximum value will be same in all the cases. Like, what is maximum value for mutual inductance between alpha and d? The same mutual value inductance value will be observed in case of beta and q, beta and d, and also between your beta and D. So what we can write here from this equation, m alpha D is equal to m cos theta m alpha q is equal to m sin theta m beta D is equal to m sin theta m beta q is equal to minus m cos theta, right? These are very clear from their position. You can means figure it out by yourself how these values are coming. Like for alpha, it is very clear why it is m cos theta and sin theta, and for beta, you just need to add that beta is 90-degree apart of this. So in case of this one, cos 90 plus cos theta, it should be theta minus 90-degree, right? For alpha, uh, beta D, it should be theta minus 90-degree, so that will be sin theta, and for sin theta it should be theta minus 90-degree, therefore it is minus cos theta. Well, so MBQ is negative among these four because these values of theta between minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 and positive values of cos theta, and you can see its direction, so it will become clear to us that why our this MBQ is negative. Like from mathematics we are getting it, but from physical world we must relate the mathematics with our physical system, physical understanding of that system. So we get it, they hold good. Now at the same time, as our rotor is stator is balanced, so what we can write more, r alpha alpha is equal to r beta beta is equal to r, that is constant, and r q q is equal to r d d is equal to r s, that is also constant. So now let us write the matrix equation here. What we will get, this matrix equation will become V alpha is equal to RR I alpha plus LR P I alpha plus M P cos theta ID plus M P sin theta IQ, then V beta becomes RR I beta plus LR P I beta plus MP sin theta I D plus MP cos theta I Q. So clearly this gives you a form to represent your and this matrix form V is equal to Zi. So what he will get here, RR plus LRP MP cos theta. Now see the problem that even if you are writing P cos theta, that means this P cos theta, it is not like that P, the operator will act only on cos theta. But here you can realize that once we represent it in this form, the transformation will surely help. That what I just shown you in my last video. Just a minute. I think I have made a mistake. Yeah. Yes. This should be minus. So minus MP cos theta, MP cos theta, MP sin theta, MP sin theta minus MP cos theta RS plus LSP. See, this is the beauty of a balanced symmetrical winding. Your matrix is symmetric with respect to your these positions. You can see that if you just obtain the transpose, what you will have here is like just a minute. So this is our impedance matrix, and as we know that it is means like uh, not only symmetric, like uh, this is the beauty of this equation, that it is symmetric and contains in your diagonal terms, it refers to the element, and obviously these portions are void because the windings are in quadrature. Now uh, here that the third and fourth equation, if we consider separately, then we can write Vd is equal to mp cos theta I alpha plus sin theta I beta plus RSID plus LSPD, and the fourth one, VQ will be sin theta I alpha minus cos theta I beta plus RSIQ plus LSPIQ. Now we can introduce a new form of variable, like this one, ID is equal to cos theta I alpha plus sin theta I beta, and I small q is equal to sin theta I alpha minus cos theta I beta. Well, although I have introduced this, but first and foremost thing that we need to check, that jumping to some new place is not a big thing, but you must have to understand that whether in case of during your need, you can again jump back to your original place from where you jumped to this new place. So this one transformation, the same is applicable in the context of transformation. Means jumping from one set of axis to another is not important. Rather, whether we can uh, means get back to the original coordinate, that is more important, because clearly id and I, small id and small iq are not any physical variable. So what is that factor? That is very important to understand, that this small id, small iq, they are like no physical variable. They do not exist in reality, but we can, if we introduce, they may offer us some sort of advantage. But at the same time, our during implementation or even during simulation, we need to check the magnitude or variation of I alpha, I beta, capital ID, capital IQ. So what we need is that whether this transformation is homeomorphic or not. What is homeomorphic transformation? Like if we transform from one platform, whether the reverse transformation, if the two set of coordinate is homeomorphic, whether the reverse transformation exists or not. Like given a value of ID IQ, can we uniquely determine IB and I alpha? So clearly that calls for that linear independent nature of I alpha and means this transformation. And when a transformation becomes linearly independent, when the transformation matrix become invertible. So you just check whether this matrix, that matrix in matrix form, what you can write. It is like cos theta, sin theta minus cos theta, I alpha, I beta, ID, IQ, this. So the first thing that invertibility gets challenged because of non-existent of that determinant becomes zero. Means matrix is singular. So here we can see that matrix is always singular. Whatever value you take, any value of theta, it always returns you, the determinant is always 1. So importantly, that the transformation is an homeomorphic transformation, means if you can jump from place A to place B, this ensures that you can again get back to place B in during your need, means place A during your need. So with this, what we can write is that we will have VD is equal to MPID plus RSID plus LSPID plus VQ is equal to MPIQ. These two are this small id small iq are imaginary, means not imaginary, rather fictitious variable, virtual variable. They do not exist in reality, or they do not represent anything in reality, but their presence make our computation simpler. So that is their objective. So in terms of that I alpha, I beta will be what? Just if you invert it, then you will get this relation. Now, so now let us try to write V alpha is equal to if we want to transfer everything in terms of this virtual coordinate small d small q, although we have converted our current, and this transformation, at least for the current, gives us a confidence it may be homeomorphic in nature, like for one set of variable in one coordinate system, we will have its corresponding set of variables in the transformed coordinate system, and from transformed coordinate system we can again retrieve our original information. I'm just writing from this equation. My goal is to replace this by this equation. So I'm feeling a bit tired since last 2 3 weeks. I'm not feeling physically well, but I need to complete everything because if I do not upload things at time, then you people will be delighted without understanding that my failure of uploading class note or materials at time are going to affect you only. Anyway, so here if you now let this p operator to play its role, then situation will become quite messy. What type of mess it will produce? Let me show you the amount of mess it can produce. Actually, if you watch the last video, you could figure out by this time you could figure out the amount of mess it is going to produce in this process. Q plus minus, sorry, into sine theta. Then minus cos theta id sine theta. Yes. Now see the amount of mess it produced. So obviously this is not something that is having constant coefficient, but this is quite hybrid equation having alpha, beta, small d, small q, and capital D, capital Q. So we must therefore complete the transformation, like VD must be transformed to that set. So therefore what we will have here is that the third and fourth voltage equations of VD and capital VD and capital PQ, let us keep them intact, and because we have transformed it in terms of small, alpha beta, we defined the transform dq, small d small q. So let us only deal with v alpha v beta to vd vq, and let us see what happens. Let us apply the same transformation to our means vd. Means what I am trying to tell, that where it was, let us consider this gentleman, let us hijack this gentleman to solve this maze. How? By defining so then this becomes what, this whole thing, many you need to feed in terms of V alpha. I'm going to just place, because I have this calculation done in somewhere else. It is not good for me to write all these terms in my bad handwriting here. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to replace V alpha by this entire equation. I will write entire equation here, and then I will write entire equation for V beta here, and then I will multiply cos theta with this entire term, sin theta with this entire term, and then we'll add them up. I'm going to write the complete form. So what we will get by doing so is that VD is equal to RR cos square theta ID plus sin theta cos theta IQ plus sin square theta ID minus sin theta cos theta IQ plus LR cos square theta PID plus sin theta cos theta PIQ plus sin square theta PID plus minus sin theta cos theta PIQ minus your, sorry, this is total for LR. Now similarly we'll have, I'm not going to write the terms because I may make some mistake while uh, copying it here from my copy own copy. If we do correct simplification, what you will get RRID plus LRPID plus LR theta dot IQ plus MPID plus M theta dot IQ, and similarly you will have VQ is equal to, I'm going to write the last compact equation, not writing the entire elements, because if you do the operation correctly by yourself, means all the mathematical manipulation, it will give you, let us replace this theta dot by omega, things will become simpler. So now these equations in capital D and capital D, capital Q and small d, small q, what we will get is that we will get here, the fun is that although there is a lot of chance of doing calculation mistakes, but once you are done, means you, if you can do it correctly, you will get a very nice and compact form. That is the essence of this whole thing. And if you, another beauty is that if you can calculate one step correctly or one equation correctly, then applying your intuition and common sense, you can do it for the other few steps, because your machine magnetic circuit here is symmetric in nature and it must maintain some sort of symmetry, whether salient pole or non-salient pole, because in case if it doesn't maintain that symmetry, you will have that your, means you will not able to like do it properly. And VQ will be So with this form, see the things if you try to write in matrix form, now you will get things with constant coefficient. If you get any input that means make this matrix asymmetric, then you will understand that you have made some mistake in your calculation, because a symmetric machine that is having a balanced winding cannot have an asymmetric representation, right? You must not forget this throughout your lifetime. Whenever you will try to do something with electrical machine, don't forget that for a symmetrical machine, it is representation, its impedance circuit should always be symmetrical in nature. Otherwise, how you can ensure balanced operation? So this transformation, now you understand this transformation is without any exaggeration, we can say that this is one of the most important transformation what we studied just now, means in terms of speed MMF, sorry, speed in induced EMF in my last video. Now you can observe their presence here. You can notice their presence here in this equation in off diagonal terms, and they are present, right? Now this and this help us to determine the position of the machine, sorry, the performance of the machine both in transient as well as in steady state condition. uh, so this is for solving this you can take help of any differential equation method. Uh, However, before I conclude this video, here I would like to remind you that what are the simplifying assumptions we had considered while doing so. First of all, didn't consider saturation. Saturation was not considered. Second thing is that we considered inductance variation. sinusoidal. It may not be the case in case you have some bearing asymmetry or something, the motor or the rotor. There is one syndrome, called broken bar rotor. But for healthy motor, you can always expect this to be inductance is a function, sinusoidal function of your angular position. So angular velocity of the reference frame is constant. Here means I would like to tell you that even the motor speed varies, then also this will become applicable because until unless you fix your rotation frame with your rotor all the time, here although it is attached to rotor, but if you do not attach it with the rotor, then you will have a leverage. And in my next video I will show you that how an arbitrary reference frame can be selected, like that is not attached to stator nor neither attached to stator nor attached to rotor, how we can do it or deal with that. And fourth, that is quite obvious, balanced representation, balanced winding. And 5, so if we do not take care of these assumptions, we will not get our desired result. In my next video, I will show how saliency can be represented using this primitive machine, and next video we will do more on this transformation and rotating reference frames.